Nolan Wells' friend's body language analyzed by Sonya Monique on Don Lemon. She is a behavior and body language analyst, and you will be surprised, or maybe you won't be surprised, on what she comes up with and what she's saying. Salute to everybody. Make sure you're liking that video right now. Like this video, subscribe to the channel, share, hit the notification bells, all of those good things. But let's get right into this video.
Morning.
I am doing great. How about yourself? Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, so I want to play what you did. You did an analysis of one of the young men who interviewed with, as we said, the police guy, right? And then you did an analysis, and then we're going to talk about that. Let's watch it.
Okay. I've received several requests to look at Nolan Wells' friend, Warren Hudson. After reviewing several photos, the first thing that jumps out is that this is a very unhappy young man. He is not smiling in not one photo. Given what I consider to be a more deflated disposition in pretty much every photo that I reviewed of him, I would say it's very likely that his basic needs were met, but not his emotional needs. He very likely has a parent that has been very hard on him. This is further reinforced by his exaggerated, proud chest and high chin, which demonstrate someone who most likely operates more from ego and bravado. You can expect a person with this disposition to be highly competitive in nature. That competitive nature can definitely serve him well professionally and maybe even in team sports. However, it could usually be to a person's detriment personally. And the tightness in his mouth and disposition indicate that he will very likely be a more inflexible and fixed personality type. Next, I noticed in many of the photos, he is on the outer perimeter, kind of on the outskirts of the photos, which lets me know that he very likely feels like an outsider and does struggle to deeply connect with others. A person like this will very often have an aversion to happy-go-lucky people because they will see it as weakness, and it is a constant reminder of their own discontent. I specialize in human behavior, body language, pattern recognition, and spiritual coaching. Follow for deeper insights into people from both the physical and spiritual perspectives.
So thank you. Now, I'm sure people didn't realize that there was that type of analysis. You have studied this. I guess you've been educated for it. This is in your opinion and in your professional analysis.
Yes.
How do you come up with that? This is, and look, people hire body language experts in cases all the time. And perhaps you've been hired to do some stuff as well. So why'd you decide to do this?
Well, I wouldn't say I chose it. I would say rather it chose me. I realized about 25 years ago that I had this unique ability to really gain a sense of who someone was in a photo. And it just developed more and more. And I never expected to share it with others. And so basically I would verify the indicators that I would see in photos in person with the people. And I've done this like thousands of times. And I do offer it as a service, and I do assessments for people around the world. People email me photos and have me give my feedback on the person. In terms of basically what I do is I have the ability to read dispositions, body language, as well as positioning in photos. And I have been able to verify countless times the accuracy to know that, it's effective.
Yeah. Okay. So people are going to say, well, how would you know? And this seems disparaging of this young man. I thought it was analysis. I mean, again, as I said, this is in your opinion. How do you know those things, right?
Okay. So I do thousands of private photo assessments, again, for people around the world. At least 95% of people respond, giving me feedback on the accuracy. So there's that. In addition, before I ever shared my abilities and this specialty with others, I verified numerous times. So it's a comprehensive body of work. You would never, typically, you don't want to just take one aspect of a person to determine characteristics about them. You're putting it together like a puzzle piece. So you want to look at several indicators, and those indicators will essentially reinforce the observations that you make.
Mm. I mean, I thought it was fascinating. You did. Now, I want to, is there the other interview? Have you done anyone else? Can you do it from video? No, there's an interview with another friend, I believe. This young man. I don't know if you've done his. Let's look at him. And I don't know if you've done him, or does that tell you anything? His body language is very closed. I do know that.
Very closed. So typically, interestingly enough, I could actually tell a lot more about a person from a photo because you don't have the distractions of their words and their movements, right? Because very often people wear masks and they're not necessarily revealing who they truly are. And to be fair, many people don't even know who they are in the first place. And so when I see this young man just from this photo, again, as you just mentioned, I definitely see someone who's guarded, kind of consoling himself in terms of having his arms crossed. And from the way that his eyes are, yes, he's looking at him, but there's also a sense of uncertainty and fear is what I see. Now, again, in order to see the deeper levels of body language, dispositions, there is a level of awareness that is involved. The higher your level of awareness or perception, the more easily it is to learn how to do this.
Wait, okay. What do you mean? The higher level of your awareness?
So I'm saying some people are naturally more perceptive than others. And so with that ability, it makes it easier to read a person in photos. Now, I typically don't like to make too many observations from simply one photo because somebody could be having an off day. Usually you want to look at several photos so that you can identify patterns and verify. But again, what I see is someone who is afraid. I see someone who is consoling himself and basically staying guarded in an attempt to protect himself based on the folded arms, the way that he has his chin tilted a little bit further back. And there's just a tightness there that lets me know that he's being very controlled and he's definitely not relaxed.
Yeah, I mean, but who would be, right? If you were in these circumstances with a friend who had died mysteriously, I don't know if anybody would be relaxed, right?
This is very true. But again, that's where you would want to review several either clips of him or photos in order to get a proper baseline on the person, to see them in different contexts, to determine who they are when they are not under pressure or stress.
Okay. Now, everyone is asking me to find for you to do a photo. Yeah.
Yes, that would be better.
A photo. Okay. So I'm going to find a photo of Tatum. So listen, these are young people, right? And we're not saying anything about guilt or innocence. That's not what you're saying at all. What you're doing is just doing a personality analysis, correct?
Correct.
I just want to make that very clear to everybody.
Yes.
Yeah. And whether they're involved, that's not it at all. Okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to get a word from our sponsors, and then I'm going to come back and I want you to do Brandon Tatum. Okay?
Okay.
All right. You ever look around at the way the world works and you think, nah. Monique. All right. Behavioral analysis. Okay. So this is a photo of Brandon Tatum, and they get you look at it, and I want you to tell me.
Okay. So first of all, I mentioned perception, right? Everybody has a different level of perception. Some people are more aware and in the moment, and other people are more preoccupied with their thoughts. When I see this man, he has what I call a short gaze. People either can have a short or a long gaze. What I mean by that is it lets me know their level of perception and usually how deep of a thinker they would be. He has what I call a short gaze, which is more of a distant stare, so to speak, where you know that the person will be preoccupied with their thoughts. To give you a contrast, someone who is more perceptive when you look at their photo, their eyes will feel like they are looking directly at you. But if you were looking at this photo very closely, you would be able to see that he has more of that distant stare, which lets me know that he does tend to be more preoccupied with his thoughts, and his level of perception is going to be lower than someone who has a longer gaze, or where it feels like they're looking at you in the photos. I will tell you that excess weight on the body often tells you a lot about a person as well. There are various reasons that people tend to hold weight, and one is because it's a protection. And so when I see this excess, he's a little bit denser in terms of, yes, he has muscle, but there's also a little bit of weight as a result as well. And this is think of it as protective padding. If somebody is in environments where they have to, where maybe they're naturally a little more sensitive, and they have to basically withstand harsher conditions or environments, usually they'll gain a little bit of weight. And it's their body's natural reflex to provide protection. I also see that he has his arms folded, which obviously is meant to be a more authoritative position, as well as guarded, where a person like this, if I were to look at several photos of him and I saw that, it typically means that they are, they're more standoffish and they're more guarded, and they want to take more of a position of, I guess, defensive in a way. So this one, again, his eyes, and again, if you want to really gain the concept of the short and the long gaze, it's best to have pictures side by side to have the contrast. Again, I see someone who has more of a distant stare, which means that this person isn't really highly aware. The reason why I keep bringing this up is because typically when a person has this, their level of critical thinking is not going to be as high as someone who has a longer gaze. The smile is a little bit, it's a little performative. There's a little bit of warmth in it, but there's a little bit of hesitation as well. This would indicate typically when I see this in a photo that a person isn't always fully sure of themselves, right? So that would be what I would say about that from this particular photo.
The perception thing is, wow. Have you ever heard of him?
Oh, no, I'm very familiar with who he is.
Okay. So the level of perception thing is very interesting, considering what, I don't know if you saw what happened with the whole polygraph thing and how he's positioned himself here. And again, I didn't really know him until recently, but I find it very interesting that you talk about this level of perception and critical thinking.
Well, yes, there's going to be a lack of depth typically when I see that shorter gaze in a photo. And I think this is also demonstrated. I did see a clip from his interview with Nancy Grace where she did question him about the polygraph, and just the way that he answered again was very hesitant. And a person who has a lot of awareness and a lot of mental depth, so to speak, will be able to articulate their point much better. All that stuttering and stammering definitely can indicate someone who is either not certain of what they're saying or it's an attempt to be deceptive. Typically.
Okay. So we're going to put this up just because we want to know more about the show. We want to know more about people. That's why we're asking. Okay. So this is Nolan Wells. Good looking, Jen. Good looking.
He is, and he has a very relaxed disposition, which lets me know that he's a more laid back individual. The shoulders down, right? Whereas if I see someone who has kind of their shoulders are tighter or tenser, usually that's a person who's going to be more of a high strung individual or maybe carries more stress. He has, kind of a half smile, which kids his age, typically boys don't do a lot of smiling. But his relaxed disposition definitely is usually indicative of someone who is laid back, but also well loved. I feel like you can also, I know you could typically tell a lot about a kid based on how they show up. Do they show up disheveled and stressed out, or do they show up relaxed, at ease? It usually lets you know what kind of parenting they're being exposed to. And so when I see this kid, I see someone who is soft. I see someone who is well loved, understanding. And also he has that short gaze as well, which lets you know that he's lacking in perception. So he isn't always going to have the best ability to discern whether or not a situation is in his best interest. This will definitely be someone, just based on his relaxed disposition, the short gaze, who will want to believe the best about others.
Yeah. Well,
And just really won't have and really just won't have the capacity to really see those deeper levels behind the mask.
Yeah. He looks for the best in people, or looked for, right? And not,
correct.
Yeah, to see that. Yeah.
Which may have ended up being to his detriment. I guess time will tell on that.
Yeah, we'll see. Sonya Monique, that's been very interesting. Did you do any other stuff? Do you have anything else coming up? Are you going to do any more analysis on this particular case?
Well, I usually pick my subjects based on the requests that I receive. So if I feel like I'm getting a lot of requests for a particular, I guess, person involved in this situation, I would definitely be willing to do another assessment on them.
Thank you, Sonya Monique.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Have a good
one. Thank you. Interesting. So look, when I worked in corporate media, we did a lot of things with body analysis, people who do body language analysis. And this is a form of that, if not the same thing. But look, law enforcement uses them. Attorneys use them. People use them. I just want to know what she had to say about it. It's a very interesting concept, right? Everybody is not going to get it, because it takes a certain level of emotional intelligence, interpersonal skills, pattern recognition, and intuition to grasp what she is saying, says Giggles. Oh, Giggles, I got it. I understand. Pisces here. I get it. And I also get that the level. I should have had her do me. Oh, well. I should have had her do me. But anyways, so I found that very interesting. Let me know what you think. And also, I just want to tell you guys, we're waiting on the press conference. The press conference is going to happen at noon today. If you can put up Ben Crump's information. Ben Crump put out an advisory yesterday saying that he is going to share some updates on the death of Nolan Wells, as well as two similar cases at the National Urban League Conference that is taking place today. I believe it's in Nashville, Tennessee. It's in Nashville, I believe. And so we're going to get information on that and two other cases, of which Daniel reported to you about this morning. So for now, as we wait, we're going to carry it live, I should say. We're going to carry it live here on the platform, on the channel, live at noon Eastern time, the update on this case. And as I said in the very beginning, we don't know exactly what Ben Crump is going to say, what the new information is. I tried to reach someone at the firm to see if they could give me an indication of where this might be going or what's happening. And so far, nothing yet. So when we know, we're going to let you know, but we want to give you the updates and provide you with the interesting updates on stories, but also the facts in the investigation as well. Okay. So if you want to know anything about the Don Lemon Show, go to donlemon.com right there. And before you even get to it, you can go to hit that black box right there, click the link, dlplusdl.com, and you can get your tickets to see me and DL Hughley. We are going around the country starting on September 11th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. And then we keep going to other places. We're going to keep going. We're like the ever ready bunnies. We're going to be traveling all over. You guys asked for it, and you got it. Okay. And so go check that out, and then go back to donlemon.com, and you can click off of that, click close, and then go to our YouTube page or our TikTok page or our Instagram page or our Twitch page. So that's YouTube. So hit the subscribe and hit the join. Or if you're already a member, you can gift memberships. Let's go to the Substack page, because that's where our
Damn, that's deep, man. That's very, very deep and very telling. I'm also just gonna pull up the actual press conference. Why not, right? But before we get to the press conference, which is here right now, salute to everybody. Hopefully you all are hitting the like button. You all are voting on the poll. What I take from that, she said that actually knows Nolan's friend, you know what I mean? He was afraid, he was guarded, he was scared. She said she needed several clips and photos to gauge the person actually. And when she went into Tatum, she said he also has this short gaze. He's preoccupied in his own thoughts. She said the excess weight could be like a padding to mean protection. It's like your own defense mechanism, the body's defense mechanism. She said Nolan was laid back, well taken care of by his parents. He was well loved. He has like a soft look or personality to him, and also has that short gaze, and he looks for the best in people, which could have been to his detriment and could have been allegedly something or a key figure that played a role in his untimely passing. So salute to Sonya Monique for that. So I think is very, very good information, you know. But let's get right into the press conference to see what this is about. Salute to everybody. Make sure you're subscribing to On Go. Let's get it on. Hold up. Let's go back out. Let's mute it.
Justice for Nolan Wells. Justice for Daniel Irvin. 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 Justice for Tyler Smith. Justice for Tyler. It gets lonely. And when families suffer the loss of children under circumstances that are suspicious and to the naked eye appear unjust, we must stand with these families. Amen. When families face the challenge of a non-responsive criminal justice system, we must stand with these families. With this giant of a lawyer and advocate over the last 15 years, going all the way back to Trayvon Martin, we have stood with Ben Crump and his clients. And we have stood with Ben Crump and his clients because we want the community to know that we are not going to be silent in the face of injustice. Amen. You and I cannot even fathom the pain of these families. I want to thank them for their courage, for being here in public, under the glare of the media, in these circumstances. But we want them to know they are with family. We're standing with family. So Ben Crump is going to bring us all up to date on the latest facts, events, and status of these three cases. And we are going to continue, as we said in the earlier session, to advocate until there is justice for these three things. And we will not be silent. We will not get tired. Amen. We will not get distracted. Amen. Until justice falls down in these three cases. Amen. So I'm proud to introduce a man who is known as the Attorney General for Black America. And I dare say he stands with the great lawyers that our community has produced. Thurgood Marshall, Constance Baker Motley, Johnny Cotton, and I can name so many others, who over the years have been advocates for our community in many, many ways. So ladies and gentlemen, the next voice you are going to hear is from one of America's great lawyers, someone who is giving voice to the families and the victims of injustice. Ladies and gentlemen, Ben Crump.
And thank you to President and CEO of the National Urban League, Mark Morial. Please give a great round of applause for him not thinking it robbery to invite the families to be here at this great convention. We are so grateful to him and the others in the civil rights community for standing up like they have stood up in the past. And just like we got justice for George Floyd, just like we got justice for Breonna Taylor, just like we got justice for Ahmaud Arbery, we gonna get justice for Nolan Wells. We gonna get justice for Daniel Irvin. And we gonna get justice for Tyler Smith. And the large part is because you all are not afraid to speak truth to power.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mario. Again, I'm Attorney Ben Crump, along with Attorney Lisa Park, Attorney Eric Hertz. We are here fighting for the family of other great lawyers, for Nolan Wells. We also have present with us the family of Daniel Irvin, who many of you are just learning about outside of Dallas, Texas, and his tragedy. We have Attorney Sean DeRaya and Attorney Brooke Cluse fighting to help that family get justice, and we want to applaud his mother, Tamika, who has been fighting as only a mother would fight, with not many people in the world listening. But we're listening today, Tamika. You are not alone, Tamika. You got Nolan's mother and father, Christine, and Elmore Wansley, who are standing with you as well. Tamika, your daughter is here. You are not alone. God, please let her know she is not alone. Justice for Daniel Irvin. Attorney Harry Daniels, we also have the family of Tyler Smith, Lexington, Kentucky. You're going to hear from all these families. You're going to hear from Tyler's mother and especially his grandmother. Until the lawyers get there, until the community advocates get there, a lot of times these families are just by themselves, President Mariel. And thank God for this mother and this praying grandmother who refused to let them sweep the death of her grandbaby under the rug. And so I will say briefly about each of these tragedies. Obviously, many of you know about Nolan Wells. And you'll hear from his mother and father after brief remarks by Attorney Hertz and Attorney Park. But we all know July 4th, Nolan Wells goes to France, celebrating the 4th of July. All the friends come back. Nolan Wells tragically washes up on the shore 2 days later, dead. And so we know all the current events that have been happening. And we are announcing that we have the audio from the officials, and we have retained and are consulting with some of the foremost audio engineering experts to review those audio tapes from the CETO call in its entirety. We also, and Attorney Hertz may go into greater detail on these matters, have consulted President Mariel with oceanic engineering experts to talk about how these facts are lining up. The fact that they say Nolan's body was found in the same location where they say they left him at. And so we want to know, how is that possible with the oceanic tides? We want you got low tides and high tides. It's not adding up, so we are going to dot every I and cross every T until we find out what happened to Nolan Wells. Attorney Hurst will also go into a little more detail, and Attorney Park, about how we're trying to coordinate with Dr. Roger Mitchell, who conducted the independent autopsy of Nolan Wells, to be able to inspect his throat that was missing with his body when he was flown to do the autopsy with Dr. Mitchell. Also, we are hopeful that they will discuss with Dr. Mitchell the photographs and observations made at the time when Nolan was first discovered, because Dr. Mitchell did not get an opportunity until July 10th to be able to examine his body. And at that time, we know the airways and the lungs had already been dissected and so forth, so we can't tell if there was the presence of water or not. That would suggest whether he drowned or not. And remember what Dr. Roger Mitchell said in his autopsy. President Mariel, he talked about the fact that to say he drowned does not draw the conclusions of what happened to Nolan Wells. He said it is equally important to know at what condition was Nolan Wells' body when he went into the water. Was he conscious or was he unconscious? Was he forced into the water or did he go unforced into the water? He said all of these things are very important. And so we're dotting I's and crossing T's. We are focused on getting to the truth, and we stand for the truth. Me and everybody on my legal team stand for the truth, no matter who it implicates or who it exonerates. We stand for justice, no matter who it convicts or who it acquits. And we stand for transparency, so everybody can see. And that's all we want. We want answers. We're not casting aspersions on anybody. We are saying that we want to make sure everybody who is remotely involved has the questions answered to make sure we have a full and fair and impartial and transparent investigation. And is that too much to ask for these broken-hearted parents? Is that too much to ask? That's how, if it was your child, wouldn't you want the same thing? And I get it, they're attacking me, they're attacking Reverend Al, they're attacking the parents of Nolan Wells. We don't care about those distractions. We ain't no ways tired. We are completely focused, completely laser focused on getting to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help us, God. And so the threats, the attacks mean nothing to us. We will not be deterred. Look into our eyes. We're going to get to the truth. I am so grateful to Mr. Byron Allen for donating $100,000 to the GoFundMe so we can help get the best experts in the world. I am thankful to Reverend Al Sharpton. I am thankful to Mr. Tyler Perry. I'm thankful to Mr. Tara Owens. I am very thankful to everybody who did not think it robbery to say, what can we do to help people get to the truth and call in to the tip line so we can help not only Nolan Wells' family, but we can help Daniel Irvin's family, and we can help Tyler Smith's family as well. Everybody on social media, please continue to ask questions. Please continue to share photographs, share videos. It all helps us solve this potential of what happened to Nolan Wells. I mean, isn't it so important? Somebody saw something. Somebody knows something. As Christine and Elmore have said, if you're really Nolan's friend, you know in your heart of hearts that if the roles were reversed, that Nolan would say something. He would call and tell what he saw. And so that's all they're asking. Do for Nolan what he would have done for you. Do for Nolan what he would have done for you. Do for Nolan what he would have done for you. Congresswoman Beatty, we thank you in the Congressional Black Caucus. Please stand and join us, Congresswoman, because you all asking the questions from the Department of Justice and the FBI. It's important that we have the full weight and force of everybody who has any kind of authority to be able to help us get answers on Nolan Wells and the other 18-year-old black boy. Now, before I bring up the lawyers, I just want to say a word about Daniel Irvin and about his case, and you'll hear from Attorney Sean DeRea, and after you hear from his mother, Tamika. So similar in what they're saying about Nolan Wells. And that is her 18-year-old son, President Maria, Congresswoman Beatty. 2 young white teenagers come, pick them up from their house, leave, they go on, I guess it's an alleged fishing trip. Her son, I guess they are saying, accidentally drowns. But his two friends then throw away his clothes, like Sean, throw away his cell phone, go and delete all the text messages between Daniel Irvin and them, and then say nothing. If it's an accidental drowning, why wouldn't you come to his mother and tell her he drowned by accident? Why wouldn't you go to the authorities? Why wouldn't you go to somebody and say there was a terrible tragedy, he accidentally drowned? But no, they gonna throw away all of the evidence that is germane to finding out what happened. And it's only after his mother raised all kind of hell, and for 4 days they are searching for what happened. Minister Dominique Alexander and the activists in Dallas, they're saying, no, something happened to Daniel Irvin. We got to get to the bottom of this. Then and only then, Mark Morial, does the young people come forward to the authorities with their parents, and they say, well, we were there, and they confessed that they threw away his cell phone and his calls, and they deleted the messages. And so law enforcement charged and arrested him after 3 months. 3 months passed, not until Nolan Wells started making the news, that they finally come and they arrest them, but not for the death of Daniel Irvin. They arrest him with tampering with evidence, and that's it. And what his mother is saying, what Attorney DeRea is saying, what Attorney Crump is saying is simply this: if they would lie about his cell phone and throw it away, if they would lie about his clothes and throw it away, if they would lie about deleting text messages between Daniel and them, how can you believe it when they say it was an accidental drowning? They need to take this case to a grand jury. And you're going to hear from his mother talk about other things that don't add up, about the conduct of the boys immediately after the drowning, the alleged drowning. It's so critical important that we remember Daniel Irvin as well. And then Attorney Park, Attorney Christie, talk about Tyler Smith, and I'll just try to paint the picture real quickly for you, and then you'll hear from these parents, these broken-hearted parents. 4th of July. You can't make this stuff up, Congresswoman Bailey. Attorney Daniels, 4th of July, same 4th of July 2026 when Nolan goes missing. Tyler Smith in Lexington, Kentucky is the only Black person in the home where they're having a 4th of July small house party. Somehow, Tyler ends up being shot in his head, dead. 911 is called. They come, the police get there. They tell them that he shot himself, that they were playing Russian roulette. That's what they say. They say, "This the gun." The police retrieve the gun, and then they take their word as the gospel that he shot himself. They don't do gunshot residue on the hands of Tyler or nobody else. I mean, basic investigation 101. If you say he shot himself, wouldn't you bag his hands and wouldn't you test it for gunshot residue? But they don't do that. And you're going to hear from his grandmother and his mother as to the explanation, the implausible explanation that they offered them. And the fact that the gun, President Mariel, that they claimed he used to shoot himself with, the police, after they do analysis, it does not match the casings that they found on the floor to where he shot himself at. So still, they are taking their word for it. And it's 7 days later, right, Miss Lindsay? 7 days later, after they did say who I was in the house, they have to identify everybody who was in the home. And then they have to track down, well, if this is not the gun that caused the death of Tyler Smith, well, where's the gun at? So they have to go investigate, and they go surround one of the young men's houses he married, and they surround the house. He doesn't come and volunteer after knowing that they're trying to find out and get evidence about what happened to Tyler Smith and come forward voluntarily. They have to go to his house and surround it, and then he comes out and finally he volunteers that this is the gun. Think about that, Kathleen Tree. Just think about that for a second. You would think, after all of that, he is surely going to be arrested and charged with killing or being in way responsible for the death of this 18-year-old young Black man. But no. He is only charged with tampering with evidence, correct, Ms. Niecy? Nothing more. And nobody in all three of the questionable deaths of these 18-year-old young Black kids, nobody has been held accountable in any way. And so that's why we're here saying that we are not deterred. We're not going to let you sweep it under the rug. We're going to get to the answers of what happened to Nolan Wells, what happened to Daniel Irvins, and what happened to Tyler Smith. 3 18-year-old Black boys in a 3-month period around 4th of July, 2026, who all were unalived in very similar ways as Nolan Wells. And I'm very thankful to his parents for using the attention that they were given and blessed with to also give attention to these other 18-year-old Black boys. Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much, Elmore. At this time, before we get to your questions, you're going to hear briefly from Attorney Eric Hertz, and then Attorney Lisa Park will some updates, and then you'll hear from Nolan Wells on parents. Attorney Eric Hurst, a great
Thank you for showing up. I have some brief updates on the Nolan Wells case. We have been working with the district attorney. We've gotten a letter back yesterday, and she's willing to listen to some of the evidence we have, although we're having to still discuss her giving us back evidence. And that's something that we will see. The phones, not just our clients' phones, but the other phones that are involved in this situation, we are trying to coordinate and have come to a tentative agreement with the district attorney to go ahead and have them investigated together jointly with our experts as well as their experts. And I believe, if I'm not speaking out of turn, the FBI is going to also be present there. And that's going to show a lot of stuff that we haven't seen. I'll make it short, but as I always say, I would like to say one more time, society is judged by how the most powerful treat the most vulnerable, and justice will prevail. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Attorney Eric Hurst. And now you will hear briefly from Attorney Lisa Park, who heads up our Atlanta, Georgia office and has been leading on this case for Nolan Wells.
So today, I just want to recognize all of these families for coming here today, traveling here to Nashville, even family that's here in the audience. If you think for just a moment, for these tragedies, they really just happened. They really just happened. If you've ever had a loved one that you've lost, it's hard. And you feel like going into a quiet place by yourself, mourning, grieving, doing all of our own religious rituals, right? And so it's quite hard that these families have had to come into the spotlight to stand up for their children. This is not where they want to be. And for those people who somehow think that they want to be in the spotlight, I guarantee you, this is not where they want to be. For all of these families, for every single family member that is suffering through these losses. So I want to commend all of these families. I also want to commend them for coming together as a group, right? Because all of us, we are stronger together. We are stronger together. And there are so many unanswered questions for all three of these cases. But there's hope. And I see that hope because we do get calls. We have been getting over 100 calls a day. And I want to thank everybody who's called in. Because for every time there's a hater that's saying that these people just want the spotlight, when somebody calls in with some encouragement, when somebody calls in with some information, it makes up for that. Because we know that we're stronger together. These questions, these cases can be solved, and we can do it together. So I want to thank everybody for calling, right? But I also, last thing, I want to encourage those who have not called yet. And you know that you have some information. One, I know that it's scary. I know that you may be scared. But if there's a time in your life to do the right thing, this is it. And you just have to be brave. And go ahead and please call us. These people, we need you. We need you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Attorney Park. And as Nolan's mother and father get ready to come, I cannot express to you how encouraged we are that we're going to get to the truth. I mean, so many things are coming to light. And we're going to get to the truth. We are not trying to cast dispersions on anybody. We want the truth. We want the truth. That's what we want. And like we said, if that implication or exonerates you, then you got to talk to your Lord. You got to talk to your God. But we want the truth and nothing but the truth. And if it was your child, you will want the same thing. And so that's why everybody who got children, you could understand the pain, the agony that this mother and father have been dealing with since 4th of July. How people came, within hours of finding him saying, well, no foul play, just gone. How do you tell somebody just go on when my son is dead and nobody's giving us any answers? All those people out on that island, and you mean nobody knows nothing? Nobody saw anything? No, we refuse to accept that nobody knows nothing. We're going to get to the truth. We're going to get to the truth. We're going to get to the truth. And it's starting to come to light. Because truth is light. And we're going to get to the truth. Y'all give it up for the mother and father of Nolan Wells, Elmore and Christine. We're going to get to the truth.
Thank you all for being here today. It has been 27 days since we have been able to talk to our son, to hug him, to tell him we love him. This has been the most difficult time we have ever had. I want to tell you who Nolan was. Nolan was a God-fearing, God-loving child. He loved everyone. He was the person who would just make you feel comfortable just being in his space. He was never one to exclude. He always wanted everyone to be happy, to feel good, to have purpose. He would lift anyone up. It didn't even matter if he didn't hear you. If you took that moment to just tell him a little bit about yourself, what you wanted to do with your life, right then and there, Nolan would be your biggest cheerleader. Today we are begging, because I'm not too proud of it. We are begging, if anyone knows anything, his friends, strangers, please call the hotline, because we will not be able to rest until we get answers. But please understand that all of these distractions, these other questions that people, the attacks that people have sent our way, just know we will not be distracted. We are ready to do whatever we need to do as his parents to continue advocating for him, because Nolan is not here. He is not here to speak for himself. He is not here to tell us what happened. So again, we will not rest until we get answers. And if you know something, you need to let us know. Please do not be afraid, okay? Thank you all so much again. We truly appreciate your love and support. You.
I'm facing a new challenge that I'm trying to process. It's the biggest challenge I've ever had. I pretty much was raised up like a lot of you. I didn't have a lot, but I always said I wanted to give my children more than what I had. I think me and my wife did. We raised Nolan to love everyone,
be kind to everyone, because it was just the right thing to do. As I got a lot of stuff, but what I really want to say is, like my wife said, if you know something and you are really, if Nolan was really your best friend, for the people who say that he was their friend, please come forward and tell us what you know. All we want to know is the truth. We're not blaming anyone. We just want to know the truth. Any parent will do. Also, the disrespect that's been coming toward my wife and my family. For any parent, no matter what race you are, they need time to grieve. A parent can't grieve when you have people attacking their jobs, attacking their character, just attacking them, period. Like, where's the empathy? We, as Americans, this is a diverse country. Not one race made this country. We all made this race, made this country. So we all need to come together. And like I said, if you know something, please come forward and just call our attorneys, give them information, and they'll take it from there. Just help us out, and not just us, but all these families and councils, anyone with information on any one of these cases, please come forward. Because being a child is something that's definitely with the rest of life. Thank you.
Thank you. And President Mario, I would just say the attacks, Christine has been a nurse for years, and she hasn't ever gotten negative reviews. But since she has been advocating to find out what happened to her 18-year-old son after he was washed up dead on Horn Island, sick people have been going on her company's website giving her negative reviews. Can you all imagine anything worse than that? That is a shame before God. They are just sick, evil people who would attack this mother and this father for simply saying, we want to know what happened to our child. Don't worry, Christine. We standing with you. We are standing with you. Yeah, and next we're going to have the mother of Daniel Irvin come and talk about her child and tell you what happened in her words, and then you'll hear brief remarks from attorney Sean DeRee. Sean, you want to briefly from attorney DeRee?
Thank you, Mr. Crump. Tampering charges in this case is absolutely unacceptable. Tampering in itself means that someone intentionally hid, destroyed, or altered evidence. If the district attorney's office has that evidence, take that evidence, put it together, and present it to a new grand jury. If the district attorney's office doesn't want to do it, we are calling on an independent investigation by the Department of Justice, because we are here for the truth. And one last point I want to add, Mr. Crump said, Daniel Irving, when these boys said that he drowned, he was a high school swimmer. He was on the swim team. He was a healthy, young 18-year-old male. So that story that he drowned accidentally, it doesn't add up. It does not add up, and we want the truth.
Police and law enforcement are supposed to be protecting and serving.
But my question today is, who are they protecting and which communities are they serving? What we want to know is why crimes against Black and brown people receive less justice and less coverage. And I'm gonna give you some data to back it up, and I'm gonna read it because I don't wanna make any mistakes here. Over a 10-year period, statistics show that 53% of Black killings go uncharged, no charges. And so that means over half of those related killings are never prosecuted. And when you think about arrest rates, 63% of white victims receive justice versus or compared to 47% of Black victims. So when people think we have two systems of justice in this country, the data kind of backs that up. And now we'll hear from Tamika. Daniel.
My name is Tamika Irving. I am the mother of Daniel Irving. This is my daughter, Azaria Irving. This is Daniel's eldest sister. So what a lot of you guys don't know, to give you like some context, my son told me that he was going to go outside and hang with some friends. Okay, and I was under the understanding that he would be in the neighborhood. So I didn't know where my son was. I thought that he was just visiting friends in the neighborhood. Around 8 o'clock or so, I started to text Mike, call Mike. And Mike was an honorable child. He wanted to serve and protect me in the military. He loved people. He always had a joke to tell. He was very calm. So I called the police the following day at 12:30 in the morning, and I said, hey, my son ID is here, and his money is here, his social security is here, and I don't know where he's at, and this is not like him. So I'm reporting him missing under suspicious circumstances. The officers were very dismissive. The officers were very dismissive. So I didn't get any information about where my son was. I canvassed the neighborhood. I knocked on doors. I asked neighbors for video footage. I had to do the footwork, the research, the investigating. I had to do it. So to the mothers, to anyone out there who have a loved one, do not wait for the police to do their job. Okay, so fast forward, I reported my son missing. My son was to graduate in May. He was unable to graduate because the two boys murdered my son. They said my son jumped off a bridge, and I know that's not the truth. He was found in water. And not only that, my son was on the swim team. He was very comfortable with swimming in the pool, swimming in lakes. The autopsy report shows my son had an unobstructed airway. So my son did not drown. I want to know why the people that are in place to serve and protect fail to do their job from the very start. When I reported my son missing, it took them 35 hours, over 35 hours to input his information only in the state system, showing that he was missing. They failed to enter his information in the NCIC, the National Criminal Database. Being my son was under 21, law enforcement had a responsibility to enter his information within 2 hours, and they failed to do it. My son will fight for me, and I'm here to fight for him. I want justice. We are in the pursuit of justice.
Justice for Daniel Irvin. Justice for Daniel Irvin. Daniel Irvin. And the final family you will hear from is going to be the family of Tyler Smith, who many of you haven't heard of at all. And I want to have his family who drove from Lexington, Kentucky to the National Urban League Convention to say that Tyler Smith life matters too. Y'all, please give him a round of applause. Tyler Smith, life matters. Tyler Smith, life matters. Tyler Smith, life matters.
I want to thank everyone for showing up today, supporting all these families. I was asked many times, who is Tyler? What does Tyler mean to you? And I had to take a deep dive into that because to give a few words wouldn't be justice. So I went into my prayer closet, as most men do. Because see, Tyler calls me man. And when people ask me to tell them, I find a struggle in finding words big enough to describe who he is. Tyler is charismatic. He's warmth. Tyler is love. Tyler is compassion and tolerance. Tyler is focus and determination. Tyler is an entrepreneur with dreams, goals, and a vision for his future. Tyler is a calming presence, a peacemaker, and a source of comfort to those around him. Tyler is that warm piece of cake straight out of the oven, that soft buttermilk biscuit that the butter glides across the top. Tyler is the depth of a baby's laughter and the warmth of a grandmother's hug. Tyler is what many people spend a lifetime searching for, but never fully find: a genuine soul with a kind heart and a beautiful spirit. For me, Tyler is much more than all of those things. He's my motivation, my determination, the wind beneath my wings. Even in his absence, he continues to give me strength. He has become a part of the reason I stand, the part of the reason that I keep moving forward. When I received that call at 6 a.m. that morning that my grandson had been involved in a shooting, I thought, okay, hand, foot, and I arrived upon the scene of the hospital and found out that this was a gunshot wound to the head. Again, I'm a praying mother. I have a son who a year ago had a near fatal car accident. I know what God can do. You can't tell me what God can do. I've seen it. I watch it every day. I watch him learn how to walk and talk. And I comforted his grandfather and said, don't worry about this. We've already been through this fight. It'll be okay. When the physician came out and pronounced my grandson, and she stated, self-inflicted, accidental, I told her, you're a lie, and there is no truth in it. I explained to her immediately. I said, how do you have this evidence for you to know this? She said, because they said. I said, they said? She said, yes. As days progressed, my family and I began to move forward. We got none effort, energy at all from the Lexington Fayette County Police Department. We were told that we needed to accept accidental, self-inflicted. They offered no traces of gun residue, even though I called the coroner's office and the police department. And I begged and pleaded, please, bag his hands. No child, and I say child because it's relative, no one was searched on the scene. They took an investigation as a total from all 5 of these young people and said, they said this is what happened. I asked for gun residue on anyone. The answer that I was given,
Well, there's no need to bag his hands. Everyone in this room would have gun residue on them. That was their excuse to me. When they moved my grandson in an expedient manner, not to our local coroner's office, but to the state capitol, which I was told wouldn't happen until that following Monday. Miraculously, in 2 hours, he was on his way to the medical examiner in the capitol. On Monday morning at 10 a.m., they came back and told me again, accidental, self-inflicted. For 17 days, my sons and I worked tirelessly, investigating everything on our own. The police department gave us nothing, absolutely nothing. They treated me as if I were a pirate, asking all the wrong questions. Why do you need to know? We've handed you that carrot already. Take a bite, settle down. It's accidental, self-inflicted. As I talked to the police chief, I explained to him, he said, well, what do you want for this? What are you looking for? I said, what would you be looking for?
Exactly.
I want transparency. I want you to simply do the job that you were paid to do.
Amen.
My family never asked me for above and beyond. We just asked me to earn the paycheck that you either receive this week or the next. We ask you to simply, the same way you go into our Black and brown neighborhoods and you can investigate and you can interrogate and you can charge, give us the same respect.
Amen.
Tyler is loved. He's loved. But most importantly, Tyler calls her mama. Tyler calls me Pepper. That's my baby. He's my baby. It will be my dying breath to say his name. No stone will go unturned. I'm not afraid to go to hell and sit with the devil about my problem. I want to know, I want transparency. I want someone to speak on it. Continue to say our names. Continue to say our children's names. We deserve answers. We deserve justice. We deserve transparency. That's all we're asking for. And I thank you all so much for the time and the space that you have given every one of us.
Justice for Tyler Smith. Justice for Tyler Smith. Justice for Tyler Smith. And we're going to get to the truth on Tyler. I promise you, we're going to get to the truth of what happened to Tyler Smith. At this time, President Mario, we're going to ask that the Congresswoman just say a brief word and take questions. Yes, Evans, CBC, thank you all very much.
Let me simply say the two most powerful words we can say. To you as families, to the Urban League family, to you, President and CEO, and my good friend, to you, Attorney Ben Crump. Thank you. But let me just say, the Congressional Black Caucus, we aren't just coming today. We communicated with Attorney Crump, with President Muriel, and we stand with you. And I'll end with your words, Mark. We're gonna let justice roll down like a stream and righteousness like mighty waters. You are the Congressional Black Caucus. We stand for you, for justice, transparency, and righteousness. Thank you and God bless you.
Has been moving and powerful. We want to take questions from members of the media. Members of the media, if anyone in the working media has a question for Attorney Crump, then please identify yourself, speak loudly. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. And that's an excellent question because thank God for us being able to get the national attention on Nolan Wells' case. And that doesn't happen just by coincidence. It's a lot of the civil rights community, a lot of the activists, Reverend Al, people like Byron Allen, Tyler Perry, everybody on social media coming to say, no, this ain't adding up. We got to find out what happened to Nolan Wells. And then we get contacted by our good friend, Attorney Sean Derrell, saying that, hey, we got a similar case, Attorney Crump, where you co-counsel with us, and Attorney Brooklyn start working with them. And then we get a call to the call center, President Marielle, and I simply can't believe what happened to Titus Smith. It shocks my conscience. And so Kareem Ali and Cliff Jones, my investigators, they start to investigate. We're saying this can't be true. They really didn't do a gunshot residue test on the hands. That's basic. And so it hits me that all of them are 18-year-old black kids that died in very questionable circumstances when Nolan was the only black kid on the boat. Daniel was the only black kid allegedly on the fishing trip. And Tyler was the only black kid at the 4th of July celebration party, house party. And all of them are 18 years old. Look at the dates. That's eerie when you look at the dates. February 8th, Tyler Smith is born. July 4th, 2026, he is dead. Can I see the other? This is Daniel Irvin. He's born November 21st, 2007. He is dead on April 17th, 2026. President Nolan Wells, born August 19th, 2007. He is dead in July of 2026. The day is yet to be determined. All of these young black kids were born in 2007, and all three of these black kids died 2026, 18 years of age, on the cusp of manhood. And I said, no, we got to show that this is not a coincidence that all these young 18-year-old black men are ending up dead and nobody's being held accountable. No, we got to bring the law. We got to bring the law. We must bring the law for these 18-year-old black men.
Let me also our members who were planning to come to Nashville asked me late last week if we would be commenting on, dealing with, shedding any light on the Nolan Wells case. I invited Ben Crump to come to Nashville to brief us on the Wells case. In the course of that conversation, he shared with me, by the way, there are two other similar cases. I said, two other similar cases? I said, Ben, can you bring all of the families to Nashville? Because the thousands of urban leaders who are here are interested in it, have a solidarity with it, want to hear directly, not through filters, about the circumstances of these cases. And that is what the National Urban Conference is all about. It is about dealing with the pressing, cutting-edge issues that face the nation and face Black America. So we are here because this is what we do.
Yes.
Whether it's Trayvon Martin back in the early teens, Michael Brown, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, Breonna Taylor, Samir Rice, we deal with these issues because our constituency wants to hear directly. And I want to say this, we trust Ben Crump. That's right. And we know that he does not engage in chasing false cases. Yeah.
that he also, when he takes a case, that he's going to elevate the word and the personality and the pain of the families. All too often, when Black families are victims of violence and victims of unfair justice system, they suffer in silence. They can't find lawyers with the courage and the ability. They suffer in silence. So I know when Ben Crump has a matter, he is always welcome at the National Urban League Conference to come and bring us up to date. And that's why you're here, National. Other press questions? Any others? Yes, ma'am. Identify yourself, please. New York Post.
Yeah, we know about the question. We're ready for it. This attack and this threat to sue us and the family for defamation, it's a distraction. We're not distracted by it at all. And it's about getting to the truth. That's what we want. And that's what we're focused on. We haven't done anything other than ask questions to get to the truth. Okay. Another one.
That accusation doesn't deserve a response.
That's right.
There's no dignity.
That's right.
Associated with someone standing up for children who have died. We don't waste our time arguing with donkeys. We don't waste our time arguing with people who want to distract from the real issue. We have 3 dead Black young men under suspicious circumstances. And I don't think the New York Post ought to give elevation to distractions like that. This is such an old story. We fight for justice and someone suggests all we want is publicity. That's why. You know what happens when we stand here? Our inboxes are filled with hate messages, hate mail, hate this, hate that. No one. Our dignity in standing up. And I'm not, you're a reporter, you work for the paper, your editors told you to ask this question. I want you to know we will not be distracted. And I'm not, Ben Crump is like any lawyer. He should get paid for his work. That's right. Just like every Wall Street lawyer, every Trump lawyer, every insurance defense lawyer. And I really want everyone to understand, let's not be distracted. Let's not give oxygen. Let's not give air to haters and distractors and dissuaders. So thank you for your question. So let me say this. I will say this. I will not ever surrender the fact that I am American. However, we celebrate Juneteenth. I don't necessarily celebrate July 4th, but I note it as an important day. And I'm not going to fall into the trap that some want to. I fly the American flag in front of my house. But on the other side of my porch, I fly the Juneteenth flag. And we are not going to let anyone diminish our birthright our constitutional right, our birthright to be treated fairly and justly in this country. It is very difficult and challenging in these times, but we are not going to be tricked. We're not going to be dissuaded. We're not going to be distracted. I am an American. I am an African American. I am a Black American. And I'm proud to be one. But I think we need to clearly understand that African Americans, Black people, and civil rights leaders have always been the conscience of this country. Amen. Have always been loyal to the nation, even in the most challenging times. And I'm not going to suggest either of us. But what we're not going to allow is for people to marginalize us, treat us like second-class citizens, or suggest that somehow, let me tell you what a true patriot is. A true patriot stands up for justice. A true patriot stands up for the families and the victims.
All my niggas from the Huda, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rappers, all my niggas turn shooters. On the internet, all my niggas turn shooters. All my ops turn rappers. All my niggas from the Huda, all my niggas turn shooters.